Hello, and welcome back to Trailblazer MTG. My name is Paul, or Prop, and in this video, I will be playing round 2 of the August Asynchronous League. For anyone who didn't watch round 1, I urge you to go back and watch that video. It was a great match. It will be in the playlist that this video is also posted in, so please go check that out. We are 1-0, and in round 2, we are up against Splash Cryptic, who is piloting Temur Improvisation. So, quick rundown of what this deck is trying to do. This is a Temur board control deck that does run some counterspells, but is mostly looking to control the board and delay your opponents until you can cast one of two Haymaker win the game kind of big spells. So let's first look at what those spells are. So the first one, which is the name of the deck, is Improvisation Capstone. This is a 7-mana sorcery, which exiles cards from the top of your library until you've exiled 4 or more CMC, and you can cast any of those, any number of them, like up to all of them, without paying their mana cost. So, and then the big part, the reason this is 7 mana is it has Paradigm, which means this then happens again on every subsequent first main phase for the rest of the game. So this is a huge pressure tool. You're able to just cast multiple things from the top of your deck every turn for free. And the other Haymaker win spell, which is right next to it, as you can see, is Scapeshift. We talked about Scapeshift in a previous league when I was playing the Scapeshift list. So looking to find and cast Scapeshift into Field of the Dead, create a bunch of zombies, go wide, and kill. So in terms of those, as far as win conditions are concerned, technically neither of them are the most scary win conditions for our deck. We have we have quite a few wrath effects which can deal with the zombies, and the capstone, the important thing about the capstone is the cards that you're casting off it need to be impactful. And yes, they could hit Treasure Cruise, Emeritus, the Oko, Chandra. There are plenty of really big hits, but it doesn't necessarily win them the game on the spot. Just looking at the rest of the deck, we have quite a few Planeswalkers, including the 6-mana Chandra that copies instants and sorceries. In the creature slot, it's mostly really good value creatures, whether that be Clothis for the graveyard interaction, which we need to be aware of, cards that have either adventures, omens, prepared spells, channel options, ramp. You know, this is the creature suite, but we are only looking at 12 creatures, and really only 11 because this is really a Planeswalker, 10 because there's probably no way to turn Clothis into a creature. So that's kind of the creature suite that we're looking to fight through. Looking at the remainder of the deck, we have a lot of direct damage spells, which in general, our larger creatures we're not going to be super concerned with. Also, quite a lot of them are sorcery speed. There's a few at instant speed, but most of these damage spells, these sweepers, are sorcery speed, and also mostly don't do enough damage on their own. So for the creatures that we have, they need to be able to cast 2 and maybe even 3 copies of a lot of these to get through the toughness of our creatures. And then in the instance, there's a few counterspells we have to be concerned about. Spell Pierce, we need to be aware. We don't want to run our 4-mana Zombify into a Spell Pierce, so we'll have to be cautious around that. Similar with Long River's Pull and 3 Steps Ahead. And the real spells that are going to cause us the most trouble are the bounce effects, the Into the Floodmoor, the two creature-based ones, the Lagoon Breach Adventure and the Meringue River Regions ETB, plus the Sky Turtle, so 3 ways to return stuff, our big threats into our hand. We also have the transformation effects, so Unable to Scream, and obviously the Oko Elk effect. Those are also potentially big threats to our game plan, which we have to work around. So the main, as I said, the main things we need to be concerned about are Oko, Into the Floodmoor, Cyclonic Rift, Unable to Scream, Lagoon Breach, Sky Turtle, Regent. And I think that's it outside of, obviously, counter spells. And then, other than Clothis, the only other graveyard hate they have is Ghost Vacuum. So we need to make sure that, one, we're not overexposing a graveyard to a Vacuum or a Clothis, and we are not... and we need to try and make sure that we clear the way either through hand attack or baiting options to get the bounce or the transform effects out of their hand. We do have ways to get rid of things like Unable to Scream with our removal suite. We also have plenty of sweepers for the Field of the Dead. So yeah, a lot of our interaction lines up really well. A lot of our creatures do line up fairly well against their deck. Ideally, the 2 creatures that we want to look for are Koma and Valgavoth. Ureni was the sort of MVP of the last game, but protection from black and white is not doing anything in this deck. Obviously, if we resolve if we get an Atraxa in play, if they bounce it or they turn it into a toy, Atraxa's kind of done a lot of her job. She's showed us a ton of cards and hopefully given us a way to deal with the answer. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. They definitely can get ahead. Well-timed tempo and counter spells could really hamper our game plan, and if we don't have an answer to Scape Shift or we aren't able to put enough pressure on until they can get something like an Emeritus down and protect it, we need to be aware of that. But we will see how it goes. So with that, I will be right back with the start of the match. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we've won the die roll, which is a great start. Let's see what our opening hand could be. Okay, this is going to be a mulligan. We have 2 lands. We can't cast anything. We have 3 of our reanimation targets in hand. Not great. So we're going to mulligan this. So we have a trophy to deal with. Anything they play. We have a Stitches Supplier to fill the graveyard. Potentially we can cancel for whatever we need if we are able to hit Delirium. We have a Jwari. We don't have a Jwari because we'll probably need to play it as a land, but I think this is a keep. I think I'm actually putting the Demonic Cancel back. I think I want to hit the lands and I want to keep the Lily in hand for if we hit 5 mana, because unless we get lucky with the Stitches Supplier, hitting Delirium early isn't great, and just going to get Valgavoth not worth it. So we're going to keep this, and we're going to put Demonic Cancel back. So I'm going to open with the mortuary. I think we want to hit our land drops. We want to get to 5. And while this doesn't allow us to trophy on 2, it does mean that we can make sure we're hitting 4. Okay. First up, I'm going to play this Stitcher Supplier. Okay, so we hit instant land and sorcery. I think I'm just going to be sensible and play this. They don't have a lot of cheap spells that we care about, so I think being able to... Okay, this is pretty good. I think in order to ensure we can play the Assassin's Trophy if we need to, I'm going to play this and attack. So now we have the trophy. We have Demo Field if they get to a land that we care about. Either a creature land or somehow they end up with the Field of the Dead in hand and have to play it. Okay, they're stocking up, that's fine. Okay, great. They don't use any black, so there's no downside to playing this. But first I'm just going to attack. You know what? I don't need to play it though, so I'll just play the Demolition Field. We can play this next turn into Lily. Although they may have counter magic, so we'll have to wait on that. Okay, they're playing Ice Till. They do have the Fabled Passage. Yeah, that's okay. Question is, do we care about the Ice Till? So they're going to get a second mill off it. I think we see what they do. Because this is the second land for the turn. I don't think we care about this. We don't mind, like, yes, they ramp. But there are bigger concerns that we have. So we're going to play this. They've tapped out, so... I suppose they could... Yeah, I was going to say they could have gone to fetch a island for a spell pierce, but I am going to just make sure there's nothing that we want to return. Nope. So. Okay, we hit the Superior Spider-Man, which is not great. We're not going to attack. So next turn we can Winter Knight with the zombie. Okay, that being in the graveyard is good. So they hit a growth spiral. Again, not the biggest deal for us. Shadow Skull for 0 doesn't have any effect. They can counter their own spell. just to get stuff in the graveyard, I suppose. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is mill. We don't hit anything. So if we were to... Yeah, I think what we do is we tap this. We're going to discard Armagon. And... so again, they get to cast this for free. Oh, getting the Ghost Vacuum there is very rough for us. They paid the kicker for the Burst Lightning. Them hitting the Ghost Vacuum on the exact turn where we were going to reanimate the Armagon is kind of rough, but it's still not the end of the world. They have still, apart from this Sanar, which we do not care about, they have managed to not mill any creatures that we care about. Let's force them into this now. Obviously, they're going to get rid of the Armagon. Yep. They'll get a land. They mill another card we don't care about, and then we're going to go get the Hedge Maze. Hopefully we'll be able to surveil a creature. We don't care about that. So we can Day of Black Sun once the Fable turns over. I think the first thing we want to do is we're going to Binding the Chandra. We're going to play this Gloom Lake Verge and then pass. So now the only way they can interact with our graveyard is if they get Clothis. but that does put them on a timing restriction. So, as of right now, again, still no creatures in the graveyard that we care about for the superior Spider-Man to hit. And if they do Field of the Dead here, we can Day of Black Sun and Demolition Field. Maybe should have held Demolition Field up for an end of turn to save mana, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Because this we would need 6 to kill the Ice Till. But honestly, with the Superior Spider-Man, the Ice Till is actually not the end of the world. And we have the Cruelty of Gix. Okay. We don't care about that zombie. They have all the mana in the world, so we don't care about a treasure token. We will take the mill. Hit 3 lands. I just have it into tapped. So let's see. 3 steps ahead is that I believe one. They also have the Long River's Pull. They have. Let's see. They have plenty of blue mana with the treasures. We're still not in a bad position here. We can kill a large threat if we need to at instant speed. I think 1, 2, actually, yeah, we'll do this. So I think what we're going to do is try and hit their hand. They may try and if they have a counter spell, they have a counter spell. We have ways to deal with the with escape shift. Okay. I am going to this doesn't stop the counter, but it will prevent them from getting a second token. And they get to Paradigm again. They hit Consider, Slight, and Founding. So they're going to try and kill me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, if they put all of their mana in, I am dead. Yep. Okay. Unfortunate with the paradigm, with the capstone just hitting the exact card they needed. It is completely random. They had no control over the top of their deck. Just hitting one of their 2 graveyard hit answers on the exact turn they needed it was huge. So, but these things happen. So let's see. We're again in a situation where we have technically 3 of our reanimation targets. We don't have all of our colors and a bunch of 3. The other 3 drops. So we're going to mulligan. This I think we're going to keep. I'm going to keep, and we're going to put this island back. Because we have all 3 of our colors. We'll open with Bloodstained Mire. So we're going to go get the Mortuary because we already have double blue available. Yeah, we'll take the Charter Course. I think I want the land. I think I'll get rid of this rivalry. I don't think that's what we need right now. Next turn we can Grave Stock up or Sultai Charm if we need it. Okay, search. In that case, I don't need to pay the life. I'm just going to stock up here. Well, this is pretty good. I think I'm just going to take those 2 because we can end of next turn, Dina's Guidance, and then Zombify. That works well for me. So next turn we Hedge Maze, hold up Dina's Guidance with Sultai Charm as a backup, and then we untap Zombify, assuming that we have the... Okay, Uro, we do not particularly care about Uro. Ghost Vacuum. Okay, so then in that case, we are just going to do this. Actually, we'll do it at the end of... Let's take a look at the Hedge Maze. I'll keep that on top. I'm going to destroy this. They can take whatever they want. So unless they can get the Ghost Vacuum back in play, apart from counter spells, we are now in a good spot to be able to do this. We also have the Bargain as a backup if we need to find a different answer. That's still fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we don't. 5 mana doesn't help us. It doesn't let us double spell, so we're just going to enter tapped, and we'll pass. Okay, I think this is the time to do this. They do not have any blue up. I am going to get... Now the question is, do I get Atraxa, do I get Coma, or do I get Valgavoth? I think I'm going to get Valgavoth because they do not have any... They do not have enough non-land permanents in play to interact with it. Now the question is, can they get their Ghost Vacuum? Oh, they don't. They exiled their Ghost Vacuum for Uro, which is great. So I don't know that they have a way to interact with that graveyard. They have... So... They have... Spell Pierce, which means we would need 2 extra mana. So I want to put... I think that's the only counterspell that they have that they can cast for a single blue. So with the 2 extra mana, I'm going to try and zombify. They do have the 3 non-land permanents now, but they would need to sacrifice them in order to interact. This can generate non-land permanents, so they're able to potentially generate items that can allow them to interact with Valgavoth, but they would need bounce. Okay, they're playing JVP. Okay. So now they could kill it because it doesn't have any abilities. Oh, are they going to kill it in response? Okay. So this doesn't leave us dead. We are on 1 life. Take this and this. Play the Restless Cottage. They have plenty of direct damage, so they can probably just hit us for the last point of damage off the back of... Yeah, okay. Well, that didn't go particularly well, but we will be back shortly with a post-match breakdown. Okay, and here we are back at the deck screen. So, when we think about it, obviously we got a little unfortunate that the turn we put the Armagon into the graveyard, our opponent hit what I believe is probably roughly a 10% shot and hit the Ghost Vacuum. I'm saying that thinking they had probably somewhere between 50 and 60 cards left in their deck, and on average, I would say with lands, the Capstone probably exiles 4 or 5 cards. So, somewhere in the vicinity of a 10% shot. They hit the Ghost Vacuum and were able to deal with the Armagon. I don't know that the Armagon gets us, wins us that game. It comes in and deals with the Ice Till, but with 6 toughness, it's actually fairly easy for them to kill. They had plenty of mana from the Ice Till ramp to be able to potentially burn spell it 2-3 times to get through the toughness, and we didn't really have any way to protect it. So I think in game 1, we just ended up with the least useful reanimation target, and then obviously that was dealt with and we didn't find it. And then because of the game plan and making sure that we held up removal for something like Ghost Vacuum, allowing them to ramp heavily with the Ice Till, when they hit the reanimation, the flashback saga, they were able to critique for a huge amount of damage to face on an empty board with us tapped out, and then they had lethal on board. So probably maybe a little bit of a misplay from me, but I think we played to give ourselves the best chance of winning rather than to not lose. And so that's sometimes what happens. In game 2, obviously them hitting the Ghost Vacuum early again did force us to slow down. We had turn 4 to end of turn 4 guidance, Dina's guidance, end of turn 4 Dina's guidance into start of turn 5 Zombify, which would have been great. However, we had to take the turn 4 cycle off to get rid of the Ghost Vacuum, and that slowed us down. They were able to get the Uro back into play, and then by the time we were able to entomb and reanimate the target, they had 3 non-land permanents in play. So we went for the Valgavoth. Based on the board state, they'd exiled a lot of their graveyard. They didn't with the Valgavoth in play, they didn't particularly care about. They were never going to flip the search, so that was functionally useless. They had a treasure token and they had the Uro. If they'd been forced to sack the Uro in order to interact with the Valgavoth, that I think would have been a fine trade for us. However, they had the Jace in hand, and were able to sack Jace treasure token and the useless search to take out the Valgavoth. Again, they don't have a ton of ways to interact with big creatures like that. Bounce or the Unable to Scream were like kind of the main options. They obviously had the Unable to Scream and Burn Spell backup. So in that case, there is an argument that we should have gone for a different target. I don't think Coma, despite the ward, would have been correct because they had the mana to pay. Like, obviously, with Unable to Scream is 1 mana, so I believe they had 5 mana available that would have been able to do the same to Coma as they did to Valgavoth. So then the only other option potentially would have been Atraxa. Atraxa, yes, it doesn't have any protection, but it comes in, we see 10 cards, we probably find good answers, and we're able to build back into the game. But I think in the moment, I do think that Valgavoth was probably one of the best decisions. Oreni doesn't have any kind of protection from the deck. Yes, it could have killed the Uro, but with the Search for Escanta in play, the Uro could have come back. They have ways to interact again with something like Oreni, even at 10 toughness. So I think really the decision was between Atraxa and Valgavoth. I think Valgavoth was a fine choice based on the board state and based on the situation. It's the one that would have taxed them the most in order to interact with, and if they weren't able to, we have a 9/9 flying lifelink, which allows us to start regaining life, start punching in for damage. So I spoke to them after the match, and I think they said that they kind of drew fairly hot for this matchup. Said in the deck tech that they didn't have an overwhelming number of good choices to interact with our game plan. They managed to find basically all of them at the right time. Which, their deck also does have a lot of card selection, and so they were able to sculpt their hand. They were able to, treasure cruise. They had plenty of options, plenty of ways to get the answers that they needed to in hand. But still, sometimes you just can't find the answers. And they had the answers. They had the answers when they needed them, and that's just the way it goes. So my record of never winning in round 2 continues. Often I feel like my deck doesn't show up in round 2. This time I don't think that was the issue. I think game 1 of this, my deck didn't show up great, but it still gave itself a chance. It's just in this case, our opponent's deck showed up and decided it wanted to, it really wanted to win this round, and it gave them the cards that they needed when they needed them. So yeah, we're 1-1. We move on. We go into next week. As of next week, Hobbit cards will be legal. People will be able to add them to their decks. I've taken a quick look. I don't believe I have any cards I wish to add. There's not a lot of removal, premium removal in the set. There's not a ton of good mill or discard, and the reanimation targets or spells just don't exist. That's not part of the theming of the set. So I don't think this deck will be impacted by the Hobbit. I also don't know that there are any cards that are likely to be added that interact particularly poorly with our deck, as in like that are going to be problem cards for us. So we shall see. But yeah, 1-1 going into week 3, and I look forward to next week, and we'll see who our opponent is. But if you've enjoyed this, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, come over and join the Discord. We'd love to have you. We're really trying to grow this community, and until next time, have a wonderful day.